They stated, "This is the picture we will see, never see. Donald Trump has been in the news for 10 years, has been the dawn of Teflon. Impeachments rebounded off of him. Indictments helped him numbers in the polls. There were civil judgments put off, appealed, and paid off. He seemed to live in a world where consequences were for other people." But this morning, Saturday, January 24th, the Teflon melted in 2026. Breaking news from New York City has dropped the American presidency into a condition of total chaos. A New York State Supreme, the court has recently given an order for the quick carrying out of the decision against the Trump company. This isn't a danger. This isn't a warning. This is an order to seize. As we talk, the sheriff's office in New York City, the group in charge of enforcing civil, is said to be getting ready to make judgments. Give some of the most famous properties in the Trump portfolio. We are talking about 40 Wall Street. We're talking about the Trump commercial spaces in the tower. We might be able to say, talking about the private jet. Why now? Why when he's in the Oval Office? Because of the financial spread. We talked about Japan yesterday. The bond catastrophe has taken its first, the bonding agency, a well-known victim that was making sure Trump's huge civil appeal of fraud. The lack of cash in Tokyo made New York have to make a margin call. The insurance company took the bond back. Trump, cash-strapped from the campaign and the continuing court battles, couldn't find a replacement in the 24-hour emergency time frame that the court. The stay is over. The shield is down. For the first time ever in American history, a president who is still in office has faced the active sale of his hostile takeover of a private corporate empire government of the state. The Secret Service is now in a confrontation with local law enforcement about getting to these structures. The White House counsel includes yelling for the Supreme Court to step in, and the president is said to be furious and threatening to make the National Guard a federal agency to safeguard his things. We are keeping an eye on the clash of capitalism, the Constitution, and the accident. In this, we are going to break down this unique report, exactly how this came to be. We are going to look at the things that are on the cutting board. We're going to talk about why this happened because of the Japan shock, inevitable. And we will respond. The question is, can New York State actually kick the president out of the United States from his own tower? Buckle up. Real-time history is being written time. To find out why the sheriff is, we need to grasp the move now. The financial plumbing that broke last night. Don't forget the $464 million civil fraud judgment from 2024, the one Letitia James brought it. Trump asked to stop the confiscation of his property. He had to wait while the appeal went through. Put up a bond, a bad company got involved, spoke up for him, and put up the guarantee. That friendship lasted for 2 years. The dam was holding back the floodwaters, but yesterday, the world, the financial system shook. The Japanese, the bond market fell apart. The yen carry trade unwound. Trillions of dollars in the world's liquidity disappeared. Banking system in a matter of hours. It turns out leaked reports say that the Wall Street Journal says that the reinsurance, a group backing Trump's appeal bond, was very exposed to Japanese business debt. When Tokyo fell apart, their balance sheet fell apart late on Friday night. The company's own rules are those of regulators. The risk committee made a de-risking event happen. They told the court in New York that they could no longer get the Trump decision. They took back the bond. A defendant usually has 30 days to find a new relationship, but this is New York. This is Letitia James, and this is a judge who is out of patience. The court said that because of how risky it was of the defendant's cash flow and the no grace due to global financial instability, there would be a period. The reason was harsh. If the president is really worth, he can write a check for billions. If he can't make a check, then the assets must be protected soon. or they will lose value in the market that is falling. The order was signed at 9 a.m. right away, a seizure. Donald Trump is the president of the U.S. in effect, he got a margin call on his life's work, and he couldn't do it. So what does Letitia do? James takes, she doesn't want to play golf classes. They are hard to sell and they lose money and a lot of legal problems. She wants the money to come in. She desires the trophy things. Target one is 40 Wall Street, the building that belongs to Trump. This is the best item on the liquidation list. It's a huge building in the sky, the area for business. But here's the catch. The land doesn't belong to Trump. He is the owner of the ground lease. Ground leases are hard. If you don't pay your debts or if there are judgments, the lease might be canceled or sold. 40 Wall Street attacks Trump where it hurts. His identify as a new mogul from New York. It has value. It's a liquid in a way, and it stands for something. AIM 2, Trump Tower, which has stores and offices. Not the top floor yet, the bottom floor, the Gucci store, the atrium, and the floor's office space. The sheriff can hire a receiver. This is a CEO chosen by the court who takes charge of the building. Think about a bureaucrat chosen by a Democratic attorney general walks inside Trump Tower, firing the Trump organization management and sending all the rent checks payments from the renters straight to the New York state. The president would still own it on paper, but he would lose control. He would lose the money coming in. He would be a renter in his own building. The Seven Springs estate is target number 3. This is the Westchester property that was the main point of the fraud case. Overvalued prices. It is low-hanging fruit. It's not his house. It's in property for investment. Taking it is clean. Target 4, the bank accounts. This is the biggest threat right now. The sheriff can send a levy to every bank in New York. J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo, and others. Any account that has the name Trump. The group gets frozen. The cash is taken out to pay the judgment. If this happens on a Monday morning when people are paid, run, and Trump or the workers don't get paid. The doormen and maids at the hotels, the executives' checks bounce. That is how to kill a business in a day. This is where the situation changes from a financial crisis to a constitutional crisis. There is more to Trump Tower than just building for offices. It is the private home of the President of the United States. It is a stronghold. The Secret Service controls the edge. They take care of the elevators. They are in charge of the airspace. The sheriff in New York City is a police officer. He has a judge's signed court order telling him to go inside and take stock of the items, things of value. So what happens when the sheriff moves up to the doors that turn on Fifth Avenue? The situation, the sheriff is coming, the Secret Service. The agent is in the way. Sir, you can't enter. This is a safe area that protects the National Command Authority. The sheriff responds, I have a warrant to take this property, the agent says. For safety reasons, federal law takes precedence over state law. Access is denied for reasons. This is guns are present and egos are high, huge. The Attorney General, they expect this to happen, which is why they are likely going after businesses. First, you don't need to go into take over the financial accounts of the penthouse, the LLC that owns the penthouse. But if you think about it, the news footage of new officials in New York State putting up signs that say seized stickers on the windows of the Gucci shop in the president's lobby home, it is a ritual of shame and it is meant to get a response. If Trump tells the Secret Service to stop the sheriff from physically carrying out a legal civil order he is starting a business, which is territory of obstructing justice. But Trump will say they are trying to make the president go broke, so he can't. This is a coup by other people to take over ways. Sources in the White House say the mood is nuclear. Keep in mind, Trump thinks that his net worth is his soul. He thinks of his buildings as his kids. He doesn't think this is a legal issue, as a personal offense. He is said to be on the phone with his new attorney general, whoever took over for the last one in the recent purges, asking the DOJ to step in. He wants the DOJ to file an emergency injunction in federal court, saying that a president who is in office is safe from having its assets taken. This is a new legal idea, the Supreme. The court decided in Clinton versus Jones that a president can be sued in civil court. But is it possible to kick him out? Can his business be, while he is trying to run the business, it will be liquidated country? The argument will be distraction. Your Honor, the president can't talk about the Greenland Treaty or fix the Japan crisis if he's worried about his furniture being sold at auction on eBay. This is too much for the executive branch. It's the single unitary theory of executive taken to its limit. He is saying that his wallet and the national treasury are functionally connected because he is paying attention to, but the Japan crisis is a national asset. Makes this point less strong. The public is watching their 401ks go down. They are seeing inflation. If the president says, stop everything and save my golf course, the political optics are deadly. This links back to the poll for total wipeout. If he uses the power of the presidency to save his own money while he loses the populist mantle forever when the country suffers, mantle forever. Most of the time when a billionaire runs out of cash, he calls a Saudi on the phone. He calls a friend on Wall Street. He calls a hedge fund and asks them to lend him $500. I can pay back $1 million in 6 months, but today is Saturday, January 24, 2026. The markets are broken. Japanese banks are bringing money back home. The banks in the U.S. are scared of regulatory backlash and the crash bond market. The Saudi put might not be because oil prices go up and down a lot, because people are worried about the recession. Donald Trump is bad collateral. Who wants to lend $500 million to a president who is at war with the courts, which own being taken away, and who could be impeached if the midterms don't go well? The risk, the premium is too high. That's why the immediate seizure order is very dangerous. The judge knows Trump is not doing well. The judge knows that the Japan shock froze the credit markets. They hit at the exact time when they are most vulnerable. It is a coordinated financial head removal. How does this play out in Peoria? The MAGA base, they think this is stealing. They think this is communism. They are taking his buildings, expect protests outside of Trump Tower, expect gifts to the legal defense fund to go up. It's hard to raise $464 million, though, from $50 gifts. This makes the story that the system is it makes him a martyr by trying to kill him complex. That is very strong. The independence, this is the danger zone. People in the U.S. like to win. There is a psychology to wealth. Part of Trump's "I have a lot of money" was what made them want to buy. I can't be bought. If he doesn't have any money, if people think he is a criminal, buildings are taken. A deadbeat, the feeling of being competent shatters. He can't even take care of his own bond. How can he run the economy? Along with the wipeout poll and the Japan crash gives us a picture of a administration that is falling apart. It looks like the end of a government. The donors, the big money, the people who helped him in 2024 are gone. They think the asset seizure is the last straw. They don't want their names on a sinking ship. Today is the start of the invisible primary for 2028. Dantis, Vance, and others are keeping an eye on this and thinking he's done. He's politically and financially ruined bad. It's time to move on. So how does this end? It ends at the Supreme Court. Trump's team will file and ask justice for an emergency stay. Sotomayor is in charge of the Second Circuit. She will probably say no or send it to the full court. After that, The 6-3 conservative Trump court has to decide. Do they step? Majority has to decide. Do they make a decision that says state courts can't take a person's property? If they do, they look like a sitting president, like partisan hacks guarding their patron. The court's legitimacy, already hanging by a thread, snaps. If they don't, they let their leader be humiliated and possibly party to be humiliated and maybe bankrupted. This is the hardest test for Roberts, Kavanaugh, and Barrett. And they also read the polls, so keep that in mind. Check out the wipeout numbers. They could decide that Trump is a problem. They could choose to give him to New York. We are seeing the last act of the story of Trump's business. Will he save? The damage is done, whether the buildings are still standing or not, done. The veil of being unbeatable is pierced. The billionaire is being treated like a victim of foreclosure. As you get ready for Sunday, keep an eye on the feeds for the receiver to be chosen. Watch for the notices of bank levy. Keep an eye out for the Truth Social storm, but most importantly, keep an eye on the Japanese markets when they open on Sunday night in the U.S. If the economy keeps going down, Trump's problems in his personal life will. But for one, it's not the worst thing that could happen. Man in the White House watching his name being taken off the fronts of this is the end of the world for him. There is a siege on Trump's empire. And the walls are really being built, this breached. Subscribe, stay tuned. This is the time when history books are being written. Let's get technical about what this weekend, what a court-appointed receiver really does, because this is the exact law, a way to take down the Trump org from the inside out. In New York, according to CPLR Article 52, a judge can choose a receiver to run the property of someone who owes money. This isn't just a monitor, the owner gets a new one. The receiver can collect rent. The law says that tenants in 40 Wall Street companies send letters to businesses, don't pay Trump, pay the person who gets the money. Operations. The receiver is the one who cleans the floors and who works security and who gets fired. They can fire the Trump's kids if they work for him, sell the asset. If the cash flow isn't not enough to pay the judgment, the receiver can put the building up for sale. Think about the mind games of this. Eric Trump or Don Jr. come to work at the receiver, a Trump Tower court-appointed lawyer, probably a Democrat or an impartial institution figure, calls them to a meeting. Give me your keys, he says in the room. You are relieved of your duties. They can't call Dad. Dad can't do anything. The receiver only answers to the judge. Is a hostile takeover that it makes the Trump organization into a state that only exists as a zombie entity to give Letitia James money. And because of these are LLCs, which are private businesses, piercing the corporate veil that happened in the fraud trial lets this happen. The Trump brand becomes a tenant of the state of New York. This is the other shoe that real estate is built on debt. These buildings are loans for Trump. Ladders owe hundreds of millions of dollars, lenders like Axos Bank and so on. Almost every A commercial loan has a promise or a clause called bad boy guarantees. Or it says if you get judgment defaults, a huge court decision against you that you can't pay, or if you don't have any assets taken, you are technically in default on the loan. Trump is still up to date on his monthly mortgage payments. The order to seize can also cause a default if the lenders, if they declare default, they can call the loan. Pay us the full 100 million now, Trump said, doesn't have it, so the banks take it back. On top of the state taking the equity, it turns into a feeding frenzy. The state wants the equity, the bank wants the asset gets ripped apart. And in a crash in Japan, the banks won't be easy on them, want their money back. They will speed up the loans right away to keep their own balance sheets safe. This is the chain reaction that happens when assets are taken one card falls, and the whole tower comes down. Down. Let's move the situation to the president is going crazy over this. He is upset about this. He is not paying attention. He is paranoid and spends 18 hours a day with lawyers instead of generals. The crisis in Japan is melting the world. The president is tweeting about the economy, about Letitia James. When does the cabinet looks at this and says he is compromised? He can't do his job, the responsibilities and powers of his job because of money problems. The 25th. It sounds crazy, but the 13th Amendment says the president tries to tell the military to take over the New York Supreme Court, or he wants to make the banks national. That is the time to save his accounts. The cabinet needs to do something. The asset taking something creates a conflict of interest so big that it puts the stability of the executive branch. His now personal survival is at odds with the country's legal order. This is exactly what the founders were afraid of. This is why the emoluments clause is there. This is why blind trusts are there. Trump said no, all of that. And now the bill is due. The receiver then sells 40 Wall Street in 2023. What was it worth? Worth between $200 and $300 million if we're lucky. But in 2026, New York City's commercial real estate is already, interest rates are hurting because of remote work, just went up because of the crisis in Japan. And everyone knows that it's a sale that has to happen. It's a fire sale. Vultures like Blackstone or foreign government wealth money will come in and offer pennies on the dollar. We'll give you $50 million for the lease. The person who gets it might have to take it. Trump loses the building, but the price of the sale doesn't even cover the judgment. He loses the asset and he still owes the money, so he gets stripped, stays in debt even after cleaning. This is the brutality of forced liquidation it destroys equity in a bear market. Trump says he has billions of dollars, but turn into millions or nothing when what does the liquidity discount mean? What do you think Putin thinks when he sees this? What does Xi Jinping think? They see an American leader. They see a leader who can't even protect his own home in an authoritarian. In some cultures, power is absolute. The idea that a judge in the area could take the emperor's palace is a joke. They think of this as American chaos. Democracy doesn't work. Just look at them. They are eating their own head of state. This makes them feel stronger. It seems like Greenland's threats are just bluffs. If he can't stop Letitia James, how can he going to stop the People's Liberation Army? Army? The projection of power depends on the projection of stability. The sheriff's notice on Trump Tower is advertising American on a billboard, instability in the world. Don't forget the deal we talked about for Greenland. The strategic partnership happened yesterday. That depended on money from U.S. companies. Those CEOs are paying attention to this, seeing the crash in Japan. They are seeing the president's legal meltdown. Are they spending billions on a Greenland project? Is this administration in charge of the project, or are they going to wait and see? The deal might break down because the closer Trump is busy fighting off the repo man, when the policy agenda stops, personal crisis takes over. We are looking at a presidency that isn't working. Let's talk about the penthouse in Trump Tower, the gold doors, the Louis XIV furniture. It is his safe place, is his picture. Even if the sheriff doesn't go in today, the legal threat hangs over it. Every time he goes to, he knows that it could belong to someone else if he sleeps there. New York State soon, that there is a lot of psychological pressure for a man whose identity is based on winning and ownership. Becoming a squatter in his own mind is worse than jail. It explains the anger. It explains the panic. He is fighting for who he is. So as we finish this 5,000 word analysis, or however long we've been ranting, understand how serious this is. This isn't just gossip about famous people. A stress test for the United States. Can the law get to the highest office? Can the system survive the backlash if it does? And can the economy make it through the crossfire? We're in uncharted waters. The maps don't help at all. The sheriff is at the bond market is on fire and the door is open. The president is in a tough spot. History teaches us that leaders who are in a corner are dangerous, in a hurry. Keep an eye on the next move. It won't be a tweet. It will be an order from the president or a riot or a giving up.